Hi there. Welcome back to A Sight for Sore Eyes. I'm Ron, and I'm really glad you're here today. I'd like to talk about the D200 today again, but this time we're going to go into the menu a little bit, and there's something there that you might not have seen before. And I remember when the camera first came out, there was some confusion about this item we're going to be looking at. No one could figure out why it was even there, and truthfully, I think the D200 was the only Nikon camera to have this feature in it. I don't think that D70 had it, and I know the D300 didn't have it because I've checked and it's not there. So this might be something that's unique to the D200. I don't know if it's really used that much, but it might be something worth looking into for some of you, or not. It all depends on shooting, what you shoot, and how you like your pictures to look. So right now I've got my D200. I'm going to hold it down here in front of me and watch, and I'm just going to say what I'm doing, and see if I can explain to you how to get there. So the first thing you do, of course, is turn on your camera, and then you hit the menu button, right, and it comes up, and then you make sure you're on the shooting menu, which is the little green camera icon, and once you're in that menu, scroll down to the item that says Optimize Image. You highlight that and then go right on your control wheel. And then you'll be in the Optimize Image screen. You go down until you come to the Custom screen. And then press right again on the wheel. And it brings you to the Optimize Image screen, and then you scroll down again to where it says Color Mode and go right, and there you are. You're in Optimize Image screen. You have three choices here, 1, 2, and 3. It's in Roman numerals. So to begin with, I would suggest that you just select one and hit the OK button. We're just doing this to show you how to get into this menu. And then I'm going to show you how to get out of it here. So just highlight Roman numeral 1, hit OK, which is the enter button on the bottom left of your camera, and that brings you back to color mode, and scroll up to the word done and hit OK, and now you are in the Optimize Image menu. It's kind of complicated. Now, once you're in it, then if you would like, you can change after you've used it a while, or you get used to finding it. You can change some of the settings, and all you do to do that is you go down to Optimize Image again, go right to Custom, scroll down to Custom, and go right again, and there it gives you several selections that you can use to modify whatever mode that you have chosen. You can do sharpening, tone compensation, which is contrast. You can go down and control the saturation, and also hue adjustment. I would suggest just experimenting with those. Don't take any real important pictures until you figured out how you want your picture to look. So I've used that before, but not very often and not seriously, just kind of playing around with it. but I didn't really know what it did. So I set up a target. I took some pictures using this little, what is it, Kodak Instamatic box. And the camera's in there, by the way, the whole set. Anyway, I used this as a target here, and I took a picture of each mode. I took a picture of this box and each mode, and I made prints. I made images of them. When I shot the picture, I made sure all the auxiliary settings, the optional settings like sharpening and contrast and saturation, hue, those were all set on 0. So nothing's changed there. It's all basically base settings on each of those color modes. And it was real interesting. I got to tell you, though, that it took me a while to figure out how to get them all three there. I was having trouble. I'd make a photograph of mode 1. I'd shoot the box with that, and then when I went to mode 2, I couldn't get it to open. It was all grayed out. Mode 2 was, and I tried a lot of things trying to get it so it wasn't grayed out. Finally, I got on the internet, found out that if you want to use mode 2, your camera has to be set for Adobe RGB photo profile, which is easy to find. It's right below optimize image in your settings screen that you went to there, and you just change that to Adobe RGB, and then you can use that mode. Anyway, I got them all done. Took me quite a while, but I finally got all three pictures taken, and I'm going to show you those and explain what each mode, according to Nikon, or what those modes are for. So the first one is now, before I go too far, I wanted to explain that these pictures are all different. If you look close, you can tell the difference in each mode. I kind of hope that YouTube lets you see those differences. They're not drastic differences. They're real subtle, but it's still quite a big difference, even though it is subtle. So let's go to mode 1. And so on mode 1, the picture shows there you're looking at the Kodak box there. Mode 1, according to Nikon, is for portraits. Basically, that's what it says, and it gives you a little contrast and a little color there. It's not a bad mode at all. And then the next one is mode 2, which is the one that you have to be in Adobe RGB to use. That one says that is only for photos that you're going to edit, which kind of makes sense because they're going to put you in Adobe for that one. But that one's only to be used for editing. And it's flat. I mean, it's a flat picture. It's about like a raw image, a NEF image, but it's pretty flat. There's no contrast, and the color is kind of washed out a little bit. Okay, and then we go to number 3, and that is, according to Nikon, that mode is for landscape photography, basically. So what it's doing there is giving you more contrast and more saturation, and you can tell. I mean, the colors are deeper, not quite realistic, and the background is darker if you look closely at that. So after I got all this done, I know it's hard to compare them. So I put together another image here, and I'll bring that up here. This is all three of those together. I don't know how big it's going to be, but I put all three of them together, so maybe you can kind of compare them, you know, side by side a little bit. I hope you can anyway. So there's that image. And so after I got all this done, and I looked at the images, and I put them up on the monitor and flipped through them, and yeah, there's quite a bit of difference there. But I kept going back to mode 1. I kind of like that. It looked really natural. The colors are really realistic to me on my screen. They were really realistic, and I liked it. So I set it on mode 1, and then I thought, I looked out the window. It's a pretty nice day out there. The sun's out, and a little blue sky and some clouds. I thought, I'm going to set this camera up, and I'm going to go run around in my truck and take some pictures today using this mode 1. So I did that, and then I thought, well, wait a minute, I can change settings in that. So I went back into the settings, and I added, I think that it says went to saturation, and it gives me an option of plus saturation. That's the only option you had. So I selected that, and that's all I changed, just saturation, and everything else was left at 0. And then I set my camera up. I was on aperture priority f11, ISO 200, and what I did was I stepped. Oh, and I had my camera set to shoot a JPEG and a RAW image of each picture that I took. And before I left, I stepped out my door and made a test shot, and I to get my exposure right, and I ended up adding 1/3 of a stop, 0.3 onto the with the exposure control thing. And I left it at that, except where I set my camera up so that the preview screen didn't light up every time I took a picture. It just stayed dark. I didn't see my pictures. And so I hopped in my truck and I drove around town, maybe not even an hour, I guess, and I took these pictures I'm going to show you. And these pictures that you're going to look at, they're JPEGs right straight out of my camera. I did not do anything to these, and I was pretty happy. And you know what? It was. You got to tell you the truth. It was kind of refreshing to go out there and snap these pictures and not even look at the screen, not once. Just shoot one picture and walk away. Just walk away. Don't even look at anything. Just take the picture. Just kind of like the old film days when you did that. And you don't know what you got, but I kind of like doing that. Anyway, so yeah, let's take a look at these pictures. And remember, these are JPEGs right out of my camera, and using mode 1 and plus saturation. That's it. That's the only thing. And I did, of course, I told you I checked my exposure. I checked my histogram, make sure I was getting good exposure. So anyway, let's take a look at these pictures, and then I'll be right back, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Let's go. Well, there you go. Mode 1 with saturation. That's it. They came out pretty nice. It was kind of refreshing to be out just in a nice day and just being able to walk around without freezing to death. But some of those pictures are not very good subject matter, but I wasn't looking for subject matter. I just wanted to see how these pictures looked in that mode, and I liked them. If I choose to use those modes, and I will, I think after looking at these pictures, I will use mode 1 like I did with the pictures and with plus saturation, but I think I might go into the contrast and maybe increase the contrast just a touch if I can there. When I brought these up on the screen, these JPEGs, and I was really a little concerned because, boy, they looked flat to me. I mean, they didn't look like pictures that usually come out of my camera. I used the profile in the camera. I usually always use standard, and it just the saturation and contrast, even with standard, is pretty high. But after I put these up on the computer, and I thought they looked, kind of flat, but I brought them into Camera Raw, and I hit auto button, and you know what? Those sliders moved very little, just not much at all. It was pretty doggone near what it should have been, and I was pretty impressed. So yeah, I think I might use that. I mean, if you're going to shoot JPEGs especially, holy cow, they came out pretty good, and I kind of enjoyed that. I mean, if it's not an important project you're doing, you could get by with JPEGs on that. It's fun to experiment. I think everybody should experiment around a little bit with their camera, and go through the menus and stuff like that and see what is possible to do. Anyway, so of course I printed one out here, and I like it. I like it a lot, and so I'm going to show it to you here. Now, this is our IHOP store, our restaurant, and I don't know if you noticed in the picture, but down here, these are mallard ducks. Every spring they show up there, and let's see if I can see, I don't know if you can get them or not. Every spring they show up, and yesterday there must have been close to 200 ducks there. It was crazy. They weren't wild. They would walk right up to you because people have been feeding them as they come out of the restaurant. They were everywhere, just thick all around the restaurant. People walking through them, kids taking pictures, and adults taking pictures too. Anyway, I thought it was interesting, and I took 3 pictures there, and they came out really nice. I like this print. It's really a pretty nice print. I was really pleased with it when I got it out of the printer. This is it's a 12 by 18 on 12 by 18 image, 13 by 19 Epson paper. It's nice. I was really surprised with that. I'll put that in my collection too. Anyway, I hope this got your curiosity up a little bit. Like I said, don't be afraid to experiment. If you're just out shooting pictures, experiment a little bit. Unless you got something really important that you're trying to do, you need to experiment, I think, anyway. I think that's a lot of fun, just to see what your camera can do. I guess that's about all I got here today. Hope you all have a good weekend. I don't think I'll have another video before the weekend. You never know. Something might happen that is worth making video. But stay safe, everyone, and get out there and take some pictures and enjoy life a little bit. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.